Hey everyone, welcome back to Alchemy with Xerophayze. This is Eric, and today we're going to go through the second part in the series dealing with image control through prompting. This one's going to be image control utilizing ControlNet and prompting to have a little more control over what you want as an output. And what I'm talking about is we're going to be using everyday images, like a picture you take. As an example, let me show you real quick. So I took this image yesterday. I was playing with my daughter in the front room. She had this toy, and I'm like, hey, that kind of looks like a cool space pod thing. And I'm like, I wonder if I could use Stable Diffusion and like ControlNet to change it into something that looks like a spaceship or like a pod shooting off or blasting off from a planet. And so I took that and made that from it. And so as you can see side by side here, we got these two images that, though they're drastically different, are similar. Okay. Very cool image. I kind of thought that was fun, just blasting off from a planetary surface. And here's a different one that kind of doing the same thing. I like that one a lot. I love the planetary surface. Or taking something, again, here's another one where, again, I was playing with my daughter, and I'm like, this is the first one I actually took. I'm like, let's see if I can make that into something that looks cool, like a pod on the surface of a planet, And so I changed it into that. I didn't specify anything inside, so it kind of did this nebulous thing inside this pod, almost like it's a time capsule. It's just fun to think about, right? And what I want to do is go through a couple of things. So another one I did was this one right here. So I was out walking through the neighborhood with my wife and daughter, and I'm like, let's get a low angle picture here, kind of cantered like that, and let's see if we can do a really cool image. And so I ended up doing this one right here. I think it's really cool the way it incorporates that stuff and then kind of changes everything else based on the prompt that you give it. So I'm going to go through and show you how to do this. Super easy to set up, and the results are just fun, So we're going to try a couple things here. What we're going to do, we'll try and do this with, we're going to do this with a couple different models. Somebody recommended I do get results from at least two different models, and I think we're going to do that. Sorry, I had my space heater on there. It's probably some background noise. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with Reality's Edge. It does a great job across the board. It's a pretty good generalized model. It does all the realistic stuff really well, and it'll do fantasy stuff and digitally illustrated stuff really well too. What we're going to do, we're going to cite on a picture. So I have some other pictures here I took. The first one we're going to work with is a landscape image. So I have some presets for landscape. So it's a 16 by 9 image. We're going to take this down from 4 to 1 on the batch count. We're going to do 5 prompts at a time with this. We're going to come down here to ControlNet. We're going to open that up and enable it. The image we're going to drop in here, I thought this was kind of a fun one. Again, I was just messing around and playing around with my daughter in the front room, and we have these bins, with baby clothes in them, and I'm like, at a low angle, those could be like, see, these epic buildings, I've even had these ideas, like when I was younger, I used to play Warhammer 40K with my cousins. We'd lay out this sprawling set on my grandparents' floor in their front room or living room, or I don't know, common area, whatever. They had a big house. We used styrofoam, like the things you get when you buy a computer, the styrofoam that kind of surrounds the computer because it looks like these really epic buildings. Anyway, I'm going to probably get a hold of some of that and get some images of those. Those are cool. But so I kind of thought that with this. So we're going to turn this into something like very dystopian future, whatever you want to call it. So we'll get there. So we're going to enable Pixel Perfect on this. Yeah, you see I got some blue here. I kind of blued out, or we'll say censored the pictures on the wall there for privacy reasons. Let's see. So we're going to use Canny on this first one. We can use Soft Edge on this. We'll go into that too and talk about that. We're just going to click Canny. Now here's where here's where you can adjust the magic with this. The control weight can be, just about anything you want. I wouldn't go below like 0.6. I kind of like it a little high because it helps maintain the structure of the image. But on the ending control step, I usually drop this down to anything above 5 but below 7. That way there's not like the shape, the resemblance of the original image is there, but it changes enough and gives you clarity enough that you'll get what you want. All right. That's all we have to do there. Let's go generate some prompts for this. And we're going to generate some new ones with this. I was kind of playing around with this already just making sure, we had something lined up. So grab those prompts, come down here, and use our prompt from file, our text box. Let's paste that in there. So a lot of you might have some questions about some of the things I'm using. I do talk a lot about some of the little extensions and plugins I use. I'm not using some of them here, like the aspect ratio helper. Normally I'd go like that. But the preset I use, which this is a config presets, is an extension I use. You go through, configure everything the way you want them on some commonly used settings you use, and just save it. Save it and title it, and that way you can just click it and it just, everything's all set for you. Okay. All right, so got our image in there. We got our prompts in there. Let's go ahead and render some images and see what they look like. You'll kind of get an idea of what this will be able to do here once this comes through. So you see the totes, but they kind of change over, and this should go through pretty quick because we're working with a lightning model. Getting some good background buildings on that. I don't think we're getting as much change as I want with these things, so I might reduce down. Some of them we will, some of them we won't. Oh, one thing we didn't change was this config scale. So with the Reality's Edge, your config scale needs to be at least 1.5 at the bare minimum, or else you get like these bland looking images. But nothing higher than 3, or else they become super colorized. You start getting artifacts and things like that. So let's re-render those. Okay, so these came out nice. So I'm not upscaling these, but you get the idea. So you can see that we've got these. This one's actually got some greenery down at the bottom. Kind of converted these into these almost like hotels. You can kind of see the word Blade up here because in the description I'm using Blade Runner. Anyway, you high res upscale this. You can kind of see that there's rain. It was interesting. I was actually practicing this, and I started recording a video earlier. And I'm like, why is it so like noisy? And I didn't realize that I'm dealing with a 1024 by 576 image that's trying to reproduce rain, and so you get some distortion. Anyway, so now to adjust this, like if you want to get a little more change in that's where you come here. I wouldn't mess too much with the ending control step. Adjust this down here. You can go down. We can go down to like let's go to 0.65 and do that again. Okay, so we definitely got some different looking things. Again, rainy, a little noisy. I'm not upscaling it. Get some cars in there. Definitely a lot more change. Getting some structures up on top of there. Very cool stuff. I mean, so here's the point of this. The point is this: you can take control of your perspective. On the last video, I talked about using the prompting to describe details to control your camera position. Now, if you're going to be doing images like this, set up some blocks. Get some boxes. And just do some low camera angles. Get that look you want. Bring it in here, and use it in ControlNet to get that view, that look you want. So as you can see, these give you some pretty cool looking stuff. We could do a lot of other things with this. Let's get some other prompting going on. Let's do this as a future. I don't know. We're doing a lot of futuristic dystopian stuff. Let's do a rustic countryside farm with barn and house. Kind of give kind of keep that structure in there, kind of think about what it is you're putting in there. And let's go ahead and throw that in and see how it utilizes those objects in there. Let's grab those, come down here. And there you go. And it does such a good job. Just the AI is pretty smart about like what it's going to be putting in. Oh, that one's a little messed up. It's trying to put like, I don't know, it's like vine or ivy on the side of the building. We'll let that finish up, and we're gonna switch this over to a different model. We're gonna use the Juggernaut. Juggernaut Photo 2 Lightning. There's another one so Juggernaut's got an updated in-painting model for SDXL now too. A lot of people don't know that there is an in-painting model for SDXL. There's actually a couple models out now. I grabbed them the other day, or not the other day, earlier today. We may touch on it, but in another video we'll go through and discuss in-painting again, but using these different models, because I know a lot of people are still frustrated because they're having to switch to a 1.5 in-painting model versus using a native SDXL model. In fact, one of the in-painting models is an SDXL Lightning in-painting model, and that's going to be fun to mess with. Okay, so yeah, those came out great. As you can see, you can control the angle and get some, I could do like high above or below. Again, it's all a matter of using objects to control that. So here's another one. Let's go down here. Let's get rid of this one. Oh, sorry, we were going to render this with Juggernaut. Let's go ahead and do that. I think Juggernaut, I want to believe, has about the same setup when using the config scale. So let's render that and see what that looks like. Yeah, so again, these turned out really well too. Some of them have a little weirdness up here, but the rest of them turned out pretty good. So let's move on to a different image. This one is a 9:16 image, and again, I had some fun with some of my daughter stuff in our living room. I'm like, I wonder what I could turn that into, and so I kind of thought, I'm like, oh, we could do ancient lost temple in the jungle with colorful foliage and animals. That'll be fun to have in there. I like doing this 5 prompts at a time. And the reason why is because then I have a range of things to pick from. Sometimes it's frustrating. You get one prompt and it's not quite what you want. But if you throw 5 out, usually you get something that looks great and works better. So now we got to switch our aspect ratio. We're going to flip that to 9:16. And let's throw that out there and see what that looks like. So I'm allowing it enough change that you're getting quite a bit of change, but you see that it's keeping the overall structure there, like there's a path through here. If you look back at the original image, in fact, let's pull that up so you can see it here. And as you can see, there's still some structure there, but you get enough change that it's got a very cool look to it. So let's oops. That up there. Not sure if it'll keep it above, but you kind of get the idea. So you can kind of see that. And the reason I did this was I really like having this temple structure right here. And then you get the cool little carved out areas. And overall, it's just a fun image to kind of play with. So I hope you're getting the feel for like what this means. Like, just take a picture of anything. If your imagination can see something with that, do it. And so let's do another one here. So this one I think I showed you, and we're going to show you what I did with this one right here. Because it's a little crazy. I used my hand or my arm to kind of determine, like, well, this is going to be exhaust from this ship. So I think all I did was of a futuristic hexagonal pod ship blasting off from an alien planetary surface. Let's just do that. Put those prompts in there, and I'll show you. So to get, when I initially was messing with this one, the difficulty I ran into is it kept trying to change my arm into like these rocks. And it may not do that this time because I've got my settings set right. We'll kind of see what it does. In fact, let's just bring this back up to like 0.85. I think it's the same aspect ratio, so we don't have to change anything with that. We're still using the Juggernaut model. Like I said, typically when I do these videos, I like using Reality's Edge. Yeah, so you can see here what it's kind of doing is it looks like there is like a rocky outcropping. So I'm maintaining too much of the structure. So we're going to change that. We're going to bring it back down to 0.6. So that one's not too bad. That last one, kind of okay. It's just a little weird. And so we brought down the control weight, which allows the AI a little more freedom to kind of decide what to do with the image. See if we can't get one that is like the images I showed you as an example here. A lot of this is just trial and error, you know, just trying to figure out what you're going to do to get that result. That one's a little bit better. I may reduce the, oh, that one's a little bit better. You got exhaust going on here. Still feel like you're getting like this rocky outcropping. You got another ship right here. So let's come down here. We're going to reduce this down even more. Maybe I'm not going to mess with anything else. I don't want to confuse everybody. I may switch this over to soft edge to get more of the result. I don't remember exactly what I did on the other one. It was either canny or soft edge. Let's see what this does. There we go. That one's kind of cool. I like that. That one's kind of cool. Got a larger spaceship going on. What's going on there? That one's cool. Like kind of taking off a planet. Got this kind of cool surface down here. And it figures out like the camera angle and everything too. It's very cool. So let's switch this over to soft edge. Kind of said we'd talk about soft edge too. And we're going to re-render it with the same settings. Just control weight down at 0.5, ending control step 0.5. And just so you can see the preview, a lot of times I don't do previews because I kind of get the idea of what it's going to look like anyway. But we can pull up a preview of what the soft edge will look like. Okay. And at the low control weight at 0.5, we should get some pretty dramatic results here. Let's see what it does. Okay, I think the results from this were a lot better. I think we're starting on like the fourth or fifth one, but like that one, much better. Like blasting off, got the fire and rubble flying everywhere. That one was the first one I rendered. That was really good. I love that one. You almost have kind of the cone from the jet exhaust. Again, another good one. This one's still kind of, it was a little weird. I'm not sure what it's trying to do here. The prompt for that one's probably a little weird. So and then you got that one there. It's kind of cool. So not bad, not bad. Again, it gives you an idea of what you can do, right? Let's try one that I was kind of messing with and had a little more difficulty. Come down here, drop this in here. So what this is a toy with like a little thing that you push things along on the top here. And I was going to try and turn this into like an amusement park thing. I'm not sure exactly. Like, yeah, let's just try a few things. So we're going to do a futuristic amusement park ride roller coaster yeah, let's just leave it at that. So coming back to here while we're waiting for that to generate, that's why I did 5 prompts, because you get stuff like if I hit this prompt like this and I just sat there and messed with it and whatever, I get frustrated. But man, when I get something like this, man, I can just drop all the other prompts and focus on refining this prompt, you know, and adjusting things to get a little more of what I want. So let's grab those. We're going to leave everything else the same. We're on soft edge. So soft edge will net some pretty good results because it's leaving out a lot of the other structure that Canny tends to include. As you can see, we're already getting kind of that roller coaster look, which is pretty cool. That one's a little different. Some of these are going to be a little squirrely because this toy doesn't really adhere to many of the norms of what a roller coaster would look like, but I thought it would be fun to try anyway. All right. So little plane. Then you got the ride right here. You got the rails and stuff like that right there. Again, not really. Like that one's better. Like you could actually see that as a roller coaster. But as you can see, it maintains that shape, right? So you're getting kind of what you want. Like that one's kind of weird looking, cool looking, but you got the cars over here instead of on the rails. So that's just playing around. Okay, I mean, this is pretty simple. Now, if I wanted to add more details, I'd do high-res fix, maybe do the refiner, and kind of mess with that to bring out more detail on this. But just, I want to go through and show you some other examples of things I was doing earlier today. Don't judge me. I was driving down the road and had the idea. I'm like, I'd like to see something like Death Race, So I took a quick snapshot with my cell phone from the inside of my car and and just kind of messing around with that, see what it would look like driving down the road in some kind of dystopian future. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with dystopian futures, and I love how it kind of modified everything. So it looks like I was driving some futuristic cars. Pretty cool stuff. That one's good. Yeah, the motorcycle, the guy in the motorcycle. These guys just like there's devastation going on, fire all over the place. I got my rear view camera here. It's fun. Kind of mess around with that quite a bit. I took a picture just outside my front door of the neighborhood and then ran it through this and like abandoned neighborhood, deteriorating, falling apart, and the parking. Like this would be my car right here, but it's kind of, looking like it had better days as the other cars are falling apart. So I'm just having so much fun with this because I realized I could have a lot more control over my image if I could, if I'm able to set something up small. A while ago, I even went and got a doll that had like opposable hands and feet and joints, and I was able to use that to take a picture of, and then use open pose to control the pose of my characters. So again, those are things you can do using this method, whether it's with Canny or with Soft Edge. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of a bonus segment here at the very end of the video. Somebody asked the question in one of my videos if how to get a white background or a blue background, or there's something that's solid white that can be removed easily. And really, the key to that is just what word you're using to get that backdrop, and that's the word you use is backdrop. Background works most of the time, and maybe it depends on the model you're using. But let's say we want an image of a person standing, but we want to be on a white background. Okay, so let's get this set up for a portrait. And most of these settings we can just leave the same. So here, really the key here is in the prompt. So we're going to do a photograph of a I'll say beautiful woman in a red say cocktail dress, but let's do a red short dress with blue stilettos stilettos. Now I'm doing this description this way so that we get a full body view. I'm not saying full body. I'm including details of what she's wearing from head to toe. So we're going to say beautiful woman with long, wavy brown hair and a red short dress with blue stilettos. And then we're going to put right here standing on white, go pure white backdrop. That should give us what we want. Just render real quick and see what it does. Backdrop tends to be the best one. Okay. I used to use background, but what I found is though most of the time it works, I'd still get issues where, depending on what else was in the description, I would get weird objects in the background. Because the background insinuates that there's a background, and the AI kind of picks up on that. But if you're using a backdrop is a word used in a studio setting, and you can say, let's say a green backdrop. And see how we're getting a floor in there, but that would still be easily removable. We could say, we could try background. I just don't think, it's going to do the same. Yeah, see, it's doing something. I mean, it's kind of workable, right? But we get this weird, almost like grass back there. I don't know what's going on there. You could try including words like, let's put this back to backdrop, green screen backdrop. And it's kind of doing that, almost like blue screen, but let's say green. Let's say instead of doing that, let's do green backdrop and floor. Not that I worry about that. I'm just playing around with other colors. Typically I use white or even black. Yeah, so now we're kind of describing a floor. We don't want the word floor in there. So we're going to do we can do black. See if that gives us something a little different. It's not a head to toe one, but you could use that one. If I wanted to, what we would just do a slight emphasis on the stilettos, which forces the AI to say, oh, I got to pay a little more attention to this. And it should have, but it did not include that in the thing. So let's go colon 1.3. There we go. And it's black enough you could actually extract that pretty easy. But I think that's why I like using white. It tends to net the best result. It's easier to pull things out of it. Yeah, I mean, it's just a better backdrop to have. Okay, so yeah, that's how you do that. I mean, it can be done, probably in other ways, but this seems to be the easiest way for me. Is just use the word backdrop. Use white. It just seems to work better. I would show you the background removal tool that I have been using, but in the last attempt at trying to record this last segment, it turns out that extension is not working at this point. It's one that is in here, and typically you have to render as a bitmap and then send that over to background remover or over to the extras tab, and then you just come down here and select remove background, alpha matting, general use, and hit generate, and it is supposed to remove the background and turn it into a transparency with the alpha matting. But something's not right. I'm not sure what's going on. I wish I knew, because I actually love using that, and it's not giving me that alpha matting for some reason. And we can do that, and it'll remove the background and turn it into more of a, like that right there. removes background and replaces it with black, which you might still find useful. But I got to see if I can figure out what's happening with the alpha matting. As long as you're saving it as a bitmap, it should be converting that to a transparency. So yeah, a little curious as to what's going on there. I almost feel like there should be another option, return transparency or make transparency or something like that. But I thought that's what this was. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. Hope you enjoyed this little extra at the end of the other video, and like and subscribe. Appreciate the support, and look forward to doing another video for you guys. Let me know if you have any questions about this, or something else you'd like me to touch base on and explain a little bit better, or something you'd like me to try. Talk to you later.